Hi, it's Red Songbird in New York City. I'm bringing to you some of the people in the St. Francis of Assisi's writing group, because they are people of history who have all but been forgotten. You see the Disney characters here. After writing group, I went to Duane Reade and I saw them. And I bought them because Disney took Cinderella from my life as a little girl, and Sleeping Beauty, and I was Pran Sharma Kumar, the Disney of India, in one of my past lives, so that reminded me of it. And the juice is good to go, to grow, good to grow. I love growth. I love progress. I love knowing today what I didn't know yesterday. And so this is why I make videos, because as Einstein, I had a passion, curious, and I found some answers. Okay, is that what I wanted to say? Yeah. And let's see, where do I begin? It said, who am I and where is my family? That's what Vice President Mike Pence said after the election. And I have found my father, John Milton, who wrote Paradise Lost and Homer and the Iliad. His name is Milton Harris. I found my sister, who is the leader of the writing group, Maria Kott. She's a Russian-American teacher by training, and she's a banker here at St. Francis Residence 3. She was Mary McLeod Bethune in a previous life, and like I said, she was my sister. I have another relative. Oh, my son, Orville Wright, brother of Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers. He's here at St. Francis. So this is part 2 of The Road Not Taken, a poem by Robert Frost, who I was Robert Frost in a previous life. I found about 50 identities of my past lives. And St. Philip, Bill Leader, I couldn't find his picture. He was Jesus Christ's disciple, and he is a resident of St. Francis of Assisi's Residence 3, and the member of the writing group. Today he said a couple of things. He said President Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving Day a holiday, and he said John F. Kennedy was a big fan of Robert Frost. And I thought, oh, a fan of mine. John F. Kennedy is Kyle Kessu, is that how you say his name? The young boy from the high school that was shot up. David Hogg's opponent. David Hogg is a liberal. Kyle is a conservative. He was John F. Kennedy. And I said to Bill, you're very interesting. You know a lot about the presidents. And he said, yes, I do. He was my guardian angel from the sun. See what else. I made notes on what they said. Let's see what else. Bill said that about Thanksgiving. Milton Harris, they said, what is a poem about, Milton? And he said, Milton took a long time to finish his writing, and he said, it's about experience. And so Maria said to him, did you have an experience that you regret, Milton? And Milton said he thought about it a long time. There was silence in the room while he was thinking. He doesn't hurry his thinking. And he said, yes, when I was 18, I applied for the Air Force, but I was too young. And so she said, well, how was your stint in the Air Force? He said, I didn't go to the Air Force. because when I was 19, I had found other interests. My interest was art. And my friends and I spent our time going to art galleries, and so he regrets not having gone to the Air Force. What else? That's John Milton. Orville Wright. Orville Wright said he longs to have a house with a garage where he can drive to work, and he was using his hands like he was driving. And he wants a normal life, in other words, but they've labeled him mentally ill, or he labeled himself mentally ill, so it's difficult. He needs to do talk and share so he can let go of the label of mentally ill. He's a waiter there at lunchtime, and he's excellent, totally efficient, nothing crazy about him. And Milton is too. The same thing. Milton's quiet, very quiet. He was a dumb waiter in his house when he was growing up. They had a dumb waiter, so he's kind of the dumb waiter at lunchtime. He doesn't say much, but he's very efficient and he's very dignified. There's a lot of dignity. I'm very happy to know he's my father. He's a genius. I told you that in the last video. Okay, Chris is the program director here, and I think he's the program director at St. Francis 2, Residence 2. He stuck his head in the door to say, good night to all of us as he was going home. He was St. Bartholomew, Jesus Christ's disciple, and he was, of course, Jesus Christ consciousness, as was Bill Leader, St. Philip. Okay. Maria said that she really likes Shakespeare's play, Taming of the Shrew. Now, I was Shakespeare. I didn't tell her. I don't jump up and say, I was Shakespeare. I was Robert Frost. I did that for a while. Now I'm kind of calm about it. And I'm satisfied to just make videos and discuss it. I don't have to discuss it every minute, every time somebody mentions a name of a person I was. And so she said she likes Shakespeare. She liked this Robert Frost poem a lot too, The Road Not Taken. And Carlos said he liked, Bill Leader said he liked Hamlet. That was Shakespeare's best play in his opinion. I think Carlos liked Taming of the Shrew as well. Okay, I think that's about all I had to say about, I just want to show you, Eleanor Roosevelt. She's having lunch with, Black Sambo and Ronald McDonald, Gretel Bigham, and here she's with her friend Joni, a devoted friend, a Christian, and with a cool hat she's wearing. And here she's got her eyes closed, but she's with a group of people. This is Liberace and his brother George. For those of you who don't know, he was a fantastic pianist and very flamboyant when I was growing up. The boomers know him, and they had a contest, something about Liberace, and Eleanor Roosevelt, Judy Rettinger's letter won, as well as these other people's letters, and so they got to take a picture with him and his brother George. She is a writer and a singer and an artist. She is writing a story, and she's about at the end of it, and it boils down to a girl had an idea. She got sick and went to the hospital. Her friend delivered the idea and got the credit and the money for the idea, and it reminded me of my ex-husband Edwin Birdsong, because he took my ideas and capitalized. He had ideas as well, but he took mine and didn't give me, and now he's got money, he's got status, Kanye West, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, Daft Punk, De La Soul, all these people sampled his later music. And he was friends 30 years with Stevie Wonder, who let him stay in his townhouse for 30 years without paying rent. He said he did favors for Steve. Well, I guess. I was having a conversation with one of my mainstreamers in Europe, and we were saying that people have to pay a price. Marilyn Monroe, of which I was, had to pay a price for stardom. She had to sleep with disgusting men, and like Kamala Harris had to sleep with Willie Brown. He was the mayor, right, of San Francisco or something, to get her fame as is she a politician or whatever she is. And so I was saying to the person, you have to do, because she was dreading something she had to do, and I said, well, do you want certain result? And I named the result, and she said yes. So I said, you know what, be glad what you have to do is not bad, because Marilyn Monroe had to do bad to get what she wanted. And she said, oh my God, that's a great point. So I'm repeating it to you because she was so impressed with the point, you know. Marilyn Monroe was raped, excuse me, at age 13. And that nailed her identity. She thought she was a sex slave. And so she became a sex slave. And she thought she had no other value, no other worth, because she was no good to herself. She couldn't prevent herself from being a sex slave. She couldn't defend herself against a rapist, in other words. So she just lived her life like that. And then she sang to JFK. She purred happy birthday to JFK. And JFK and his brother, the district attorney, what was the attorney general, Robert Kennedy, decided to dump her after that. I don't know if she was sleeping with him. I don't remember. And I think they said she was. She was sleeping with Robert Kennedy too. But they dumped her because she was too hot. She was too bold. You know, she was very bright. She had been married to Joe DiMaggio and Miller, the playwright, Arthur Miller, the playwright of The Crucible. So she married intelligent men. But at 13, her self-esteem, her self-respect was robbed of her. She had none. So, and she didn't know how to manage her emotional states. Tony Robbins, who wrote this book here, teaches people how to manage their emotional states, and so do I. With the therapy I created, I was Sigmund Freud, I was Fritz Perl, the German psychiatrist, and I was Emma Jung, the wife of Dr. Carl Jung. So I have a background in psychology and psychiatry. So this life, I created Talk and Share, which is a way to manage your states by owning what's blocking you from being your natural self. And Marilyn Monroe had none of that. As Marilyn Monroe, I have been using it to clear my guilt and my unwarranted guilt, because I was coerced into being a whore. That's the label they put on women who sleep with men. That's what my mother said when I was a child. She said, men can sleep with as many women as they want, and they get out of bed and they're Mr. So-and-so. But if a woman does that, she's a whore. That's not fair. In no way is that fair. And especially since Marilyn Monroe was coerced into being a person who gave men, pleased men, gave men what they wanted sexually from her, because she had no encouragement that she was bright and she could be a writer, she could be a teacher. She, you know, all she knew she could be was a sex kitten. Look at me, I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. I feel like I'm clinging to a cloud. I can't understand. I get misty just holding you.